Welcome to my very first video demonstration. It's been kind of fun doing this for Substack and for you, my subscribers. I wasn't really sure what to do. Some of the difficulties I found right away were things like setting up the microphone, where to put it so that you could still paint, lighting, settings on everything. But I don't know. We'll see what you think after you get to see this when the newsletter comes out. What I'm showing you now is like in the first little video I posted for you. I'm painting on this cradled panel, which I primed with the Michael Harding Non-Absorbent acrylic primer. Let that dry, and then I like to use acrylics to tone the panels because it's dry right away and I get a tone under the oil paint. Oh yeah, this is oil paint, by the way. I'll put a photo up to show you my palette for the painting. But I put the acrylic on there so that when I start painting with the oil paint right away, I don't get the white board showing through. Even though this looks kind of light, it probably had a little bit more tone to it than it appears to have. But what I'm doing here is just painting the big masses of the composition in. I'm using ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson, ivory black, lemon yellow for the most part. Probably a little bit of yellow ochre into the lighter greens of the masses just to help warm them up slightly. And I'm using paint fairly dry. I do mix in some alkyd white into my titanium, which you'll see in the picture on my palette. And I do that just so that the paint begins to dry fast and set up fast. I have enjoyed painting with acrylics so much because of how fast they do dry. So when I am using oils, I try to do things with the oil paint so that it also dries pretty quick. This is a scene from a sketchbook painted near me here on Tybee, and I painted it in acrylic on location, and I liked how it came out, the atmosphere of the sketch and everything, so I thought I'd try to replicate it up a little bit larger. This is 8 by 10. The sketch was 6 by 8. So I've got a little glare in the upper right corner, and what I tried to do as I paint along here is pull those brush strokes down vertically so that they don't catch so much glare, at least in the darkest parts of the painting. Looks like I had a little gap here. This is about 6 minutes long total, maybe almost 7 minutes. And one of the fun parts of this has been going through and cutting out all of the dead time. The painting took about an hour and a half, and I think the total video, which I'll show you over the next 3 or 4 or so newsletters, the total time in the video is about 30 minutes. So I cut the time in about half just by cutting out pieces of dead air and dead space. And I'm overdubbing it. I don't know how this is going to work. It's all kind of an experiment. But there's too many things going on in the studio. Other noises, you know, and air conditioners and things like that, to actually do live audio as I'm painting. I might try to do that in some future demos if I go outside to do some plein air work. Then you'll just hear car horns and bird sounds. Anyway, so here I'm adding a little bit lighter value green, but I'm still staying within the big dark mass. Painting like this was all about the brightness of the sky, kind of against these backlit houses and trees. So the most important thing to do is to get the darkness, the dark value of the masses, so that the bright value of the sky shows off. And so that's what I'm concentrating on here. Shapes and shadows in composition. I was working hard to keep the tree mass on the right out of the middle space, and it's pretty weighted to the right and towards the bottom of the panel, so I'm not too worried about it if, you know, the line of the houses and things start to get towards the middle of the canvas. It's pretty much a right bottom kind of, or right side bottom weighted mass. Here I'm putting in some shadow color that ran along the edge of the tree line, excuse me, over the top of the marsh grass. I used kind of a grayed violet, some ultramarine blue, cad red, light, probably a little bit of lemon yellow in there. As it came off to the right side, I added more blue to it, more bluish green. So I used some cobalt because it's got a little bit of yellow in it already. So that became my green on the right side. All these little movements up with the brush are just to make little adjustments, add little value notes. As the video goes along, once I get the major shape in, it's just a lot about refining. I find that working from sketches really is, first of all, it's pure joy because I don't know about all of you, but my head begins to get a little numb working with photographs, and I'd much rather work from a sketch or the real thing. So that's about it for this segment. I'll be following up more segments as this painting progresses as we go forward. Thank you.